What's going on? We are finally back, reality after show with the anonymous coverage. Let's go. Lauren, as always, and with me, Adrian. Adrian, how are you, buddy? Good to see you.
I'm doing good. It's been a week. I miss your face. It's been, a wild week in anonymous world, and I'm excited and anxious to talk about it. So, yeah, I'll dive in whenever you're ready.
I'm ready to go. We're hitting with episode number 8, and I have to say, a little disappointing. We'll get to it, but not losing somebody is where I'm having my issue. You bring in 3 people, and then you have an episode where I'm not losing another person. I struggle with this.
I was expecting it last week. I was pretty sure that Marcel was going to be safe. I think that was a story that they were telling behind the scenes. So I wasn't all that surprised, but I agree with you. I when it comes to these types of shows, I hate weeks where there's no elimination. Like, to me, that feels like a wasted hour. But, maybe they'll have a double elimination to try to catch up, but even then, it's just not the same. It doesn't hit the same.
I get why they do it. They do it for suspense, but again, as you said, you lose that hour where you go, did I need that episode? Did I need that filler? No, not really, especially with the format of this specific game.
Mm-hmm.
I understand with Big Brother, they can have the twist and all that, and it can be significant, but for this, is it significant, do you think?
No, I don't think it's significant. Like, to me, it feels a little bit like production, like milking the numbers a little bit to try to get an extra episode out of me. And that might not be true at all. I mean, it could just be something that production was like, oh, wouldn't it be really cool if we had an opportunity for a person to save themselves? But if that's indeed the case, I think we discussed this in the last episode, that person should have been able to, like, Marcel should have been able to eliminate somebody else in return. And that way you'd still have the gameplay and you still have the suspense for the episode, but you wouldn't lose the elimination in the meantime. I mean, basically that just turns him into the anonymous and then he gets to make a decision. I like that, but they didn't decide to go with that this time. So maybe if they're listening, maybe they'll make that decision for next time. We never know. Because obviously they watch this.
Of course, why wouldn't they?
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
it's
How could you
number one
not?
podcast in the world right now. I'm pretty sure. I think where our viewership is like above Rogan at this point. All right, so let's jump right into it here. Episode 8. Oh, by the way, Johnny will be really upset if we don't say it. Please, if you like the content that you're seeing here, please drop us a like. We definitely appreciate it. Drop us a comment. Subscribe to the Reality After Show. If Johnny's listening, I think we did it right? Thank you. Okay, we don't want to get yelled at.
Solid. What a way to start. It's perfect.
Yeah, we got to get that out of the way right in the beginning. Anyway, so episode 8. So we leave on the cliffhanger from episode 7 of Is Marcel Safe? He was the target for elimination by the Anonymous, and we just don't know. We don't know if he's going to be safe or not. So the suspense is killing us. And we cue right in, and Marcel coyly opens his little box, and lo and behold, the box says what?
Safe. That's it. It says
That's
safe.
it. That's all it says. So like I get if you're not reading the edit as like I am at this point, like that would be like, yeah, fine, but like Marcel isn't really that compelling of a character right now in this game where I'm like really invested in him. If it was a different character, if it was Andy, if it was Dylan, if it was even like Jack or Nina or somebody else that has been featured on the show much more, I would have had a lot more invested in that reveal, but I just didn't get it with Marcel because he just doesn't have that compelling of a storyline to make me I hesitate to use the word, but to care if he's still in this game. He's not making the moves. He's not a compelling character, and he's not a strategic mastermind in the household.
Let me run by something by you. Just thinking about this. Did Lily and Marcel swap roles a little bit? Because I feel as though Marcel started off a little bit stronger and then a decline, whereas Lily has had the uprise.
I think that Marcel, I think he had a little bit of a stronger in the beginning, but I think he was still ostracized. I don't think that he was ever able to make like full connections with his cast members, and they both did recognize that they had to make adjustments to their game in order to play a stronger game overall. But Lily has been able to make that change. I don't feel like Marcel has made the changes effectively. I just don't think that he's connecting with this cast. And it's unfortunate for his place in the game, and it's unfortunate for us as viewers because it's just not creating compelling television on his part. But yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure Marcel's an awesome dude. I mean, I'd love to play games with him someday, Rocca. But you know. I didn't have a lot invested in Marcel as a character to really care what the outcome of that box was, you know?
I will say though, I did enjoy the Marcel Bisma situation that they had. The interaction was fire. I will give Marcel credit for that one but here's the thing, I still even think you play that incorrectly by doing that, because then immediately you put an even bigger target on your back. I liked it as a viewer, though. I think it's not great gameplay, but I enjoyed watching the segment.
Well, that's the thing. It's like usually great gameplay doesn't create compelling television because most of these social strategic games, it's better off to stay more coy and under the radar, etc. But that's why, like on a lot of these shows, they kind of promote, big moves, big moves, big moves. They might not be the best strategic moves for the game, but they are the most entertaining.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%. So we get the reveal that Nina became the Anonymous this past week, and she was denied by Marcel. Like, Marcel outplayed her in this capacity. She took the chance to eliminate him, and lo and behold, he is the one who is invulnerable. So kudos to Marcel. You get a feather in your cap there. You pull one over on Nina, but even then, there's no repercussions for Nina on it because he doesn't know that she's the one that targeted him.
Which is perfect. So it works out for her in the end because she still does not have Marcel coming for her. Mm-hmm. Marcel is full on Bisma. That's who it is. There's no question that it's anybody else, which I think helps. I think Nina still played the strategy right of who to eliminate because, correct me if I'm wrong, only Eagle had put Marcel. And that's who they think Eagle is Bisma. So in his mind, he's thinking, that's 100% who picked to eliminate me. So Nina set herself up quite well if it didn't pan out with an elimination, because eyes are not on Nina.
At all. No. She's coming away from this scot-free. And they even talk about it later in the episode when they said, like, either Bisma did this or Bisma is taking the fall for somebody who did this. I believe Marcel said that. I have it in my notes later on. But and Marcel plays it off. He's like, I'm not trying to be shady. I'm just playing the game. And that's true. He's trying to come off with this as if he is just doing what he needs to survive. Which, honestly, that is the correct play here. Like, you can't just tell everybody what your strategy is, etc. Especially when it comes to something where you need to keep a secret, like in this in the box game that they have. So it didn't make sense for him to say that and then blow up his own game because then he wouldn't have been targeted at all. So he has to play the game. So like Marcel, you're doing great at this point with this decision, and you did well pulling the wool over everybody's eyes. What, 3 times in a row now?
Right, this is Marcel's game. Marcel is the best at it. No one else is able to compete with it. So there is an aspect to Marcel's overall game. You have to be able to do some of these things to some extent to do well and to succeed. So I do give kudos to Marcel for that.
Yeah, and game recognizes game usually. So I'm sure like players like Nina and Jack, the more gamer personalities that are on this cast are respecting his game in that regards. It's just that his social game is not matching up to what he can do in those box games. Anyway, moving right along. Unless you have anything else that you want to bring up to the table at this point.
No, all I was going to say, we just don't know what the end game is going to look like. Is it so important that you have to have this great social game with other people? How is the decision going to be made? Who is the anonymous? We don't know. And I think that's what's so intriguing about it is because you cannot predict what this end game is going to be.
No, because there's no other game that's really like it. I mean, everything else that has a game that's like similar, like it pulls a lot of like Frankenstein elements. Like it's got the arms of this game and the legs of this game, and it's got like the brain of another game. But putting all those pieces of Frankenstein together doesn't mean that it's still any part of these former games that they pulled from. So it's going to be interesting to see how the end game plays out. I mean, we probably have maybe about like 4 or 5 more episodes of the season, I would imagine. I don't see them milking it that much further than that. But if that's indeed the case, like, how are they going to wrap this up and wrap it up quickly? Like, I just don't know.
I don't know. And the thing is, I think another handle change has got to be coming because everyone at this point is slowly but surely getting it figured out who's who. And you obviously have the ones Christopher's been figured out, been there, done that. You know what I mean?
He didn't do well the first time. He's not doing well the second time.
There's still some keeping theirs hidden, which I am really excited about. Victoria, like, my goodness, love it.
Oh yeah, Victoria came into the game and she's cooking on every freaking stovetop there. Like she's got an entire Thanksgiving dinner of strategy going on, and it's wild to see how underestimated she is in the household right now. So like kudos to Victoria. But yeah, no. So that night, we get a confessional from Marcel that Eagle is the only player that put him up. So Eagle must have been the anonymous since they voted to send him home. You were doing great, and now you've made an incorrect assumption. Now, it technically has some logic to it. It makes sense to make that inference based on the data that you've been provided. Unfortunately, in this situation, it is an incorrect inference at that point. It's like he's like checkers and the women are playing chess right now, and that's kind of how it feels. And I feel like that with most of the men on this cast. I feel like the women are running circles around them right now.
I think most of the women, not all of them, but that's what I'm saying, not all of them. What I'm interested to know with Marcel, though, we're talking about assumptions here. You're assuming that Bisma did that to you, but then again, if you also are thinking that people are pinned Eagle, Bisma, then it couldn't have been Bisma then.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the thought process, because if that handle's very much figured out, that person's not going to win the anonymous.
Exactly. And everybody, well, not everybody, but there's a large majority of the cast here that believes that Eagle is Bisma. So like that logic just doesn't pan out. Like I understand where you're coming from in this situation, but that was a really good point on your part. That like, yeah, no, Bisma couldn't be the anonymous if she is Eagle. So it's like he's halfway there. He knows that Eagle is Bisma. He just doesn't recognize that Bisma doesn't have the power. But yeah, no. So Marcel says to Bisma, because we get a lot of catfighting between the two of them. It seems like it's like a little playful adversity between them. We get Marcel to Bisma. This is one of the things that really stuck out to me. Hug me in the front, stab me in the back, which is like totally a good synopsis of their relationship, I think, because like Bisma is very, very cordial and polished, I think, when it comes to most of her interactions with a lot of the players, and that comes from her occupation, because she's a lobbyist, if I'm not mistaken, in Washington D.C. So that is typical. That is her like butter zone, that is her wheelhouse, is to, smile, be really sweet, really, really nice, and then have that cutthroat mentality to be able to stab somebody in the back that she's smiling right in their face at.
Yes, but the only thing I think where she goes wrong, not reading the room. You could tell Marcel right there does not want a hug from anybody, regardless of who it is. And it just was such a bad read. And also, it came across to me just a tad bit fake, in the sense of, do you really want to give him a hug? And he doesn't want a hug from you more than likely. I just say you leave it. I say because you're drawing more attention to yourself, I believe, if you try and do that, because then it is even making it more so, Marcel, to think, oh, definitely it was you because you're trying to like come in for that big hug.
Yeah, especially since they don't have an existing relationship that contains that type of an interaction. But yeah, no, I mean, she made the play to try to soften the edges, so to speak, and yeah, no, Marcel seems like he's seeing right through it, and when it comes to Bisma, I think Marcel has the game figured out. But the problem is that there's 7 other players in this game.
Right.
So, so the next scene we get quote unquote Vista for chat time. Victoria chimes in with, it's obvious who the anonymous is. And Christopher, who? And obviously she thinks that it's Bisma, because of the target to Marcel. It's interesting to see how almost everybody in this household has this whole thing pegged that Eagle is Bisma. Her game seems like it's completely crumbling.
It is, and which is unfortunate. But again, we only saw Victoria as being the newer person coming in that was able to adapt to the game. And it's hard because that is their first handle that they're having to deal with. Everyone else had the opportunity to shake it up or change something that they wanted to within their game to make it better.
No, they've had opportunity in order to learn from their mistakes early on. And Victoria just hit the ground running, Bisma, and if we all remember Wayne, it just didn't work out for them. Which, like it's kind of a handicap to come into a house. I mean, we've discussed this ad nauseum anyway. But moving right along on that, we have Christopher doesn't. Do you think Christopher truly believes that Bisma is not Eagle, or do you think he's just saying that?
I think Christopher's just being Christopher. What we've gotten all season. I don't think Christopher really cares. Christopher wants to win. I'm not saying Christopher doesn't care about winning by any means, but I think Christopher's more there, the social guy, very much wants to be there, be the people person, which he's great at. But that's what I'm talking about. We don't know what the end game's gonna be. Christopher could be playing a great game. Your social ability could matter. If you just have to go into maybe, it could be something such as this. You go into the last round, it's a new handle, and you have the interactions and the talks, and it's just one round of a new handle. Maybe Christopher does bring it home then, because he does at least have those relationships and bonds and could maybe pick out, oh, this is who this person is at the end game, and could be playing it up the entire time to the audience, us too.
Yeah.
Pretending that that's what he thinks and saying that, but I wish we would get a confessional with conversation. That's indeed what is happening. I'm giving a lot of credit here because I'm hoping for it, because it would be amazing gameplay if it was true.
Yes, yeah. I'd unfortunately, I'm not going to give Christopher that much credit at this point. I just haven't seen it from him just yet. I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm just saying that I don't believe that that's the case. But yeah, no. So Christopher thinks that that Bisma is, well, he alleges that he thinks that it's Cactus, which obviously he's talking to Cactus right now. And Victoria just gives him a little response. She plays it close to the chest. Yeah.
Oh, she's awesome. And the thing is, it has to be so hard hearing your handle come up when you're sitting with a different person and talking to them about it, but she plays it off beautifully. You can't even tell. Some people, I think, would crack a little bit of a smile or kind of try and turn the other way so you don't see their full facial reaction, but she's right there. Nothing
I think
changed.
we see that a little later in the episode, though. Because we see that a little bit. Yeah, we'll get there. So the next scene, we get a short conversation between Dylan and Nina. Dylan's like, I love Bisma, but she's getting on my nerves, you know? So there's a lot of smack talk going around about Bisma still, even in this conversation. She doesn't talk to me on anything other than surface level stuff. So he doesn't feel like Bisma is making a connection with him at all. And he's like, get deeper with me, have a real conversation. And that's a thing that a lot of people who are very logical type 1 personalities, similar to I think how Bisma is they fail to make those intimate connections by having more deep conversations, because they don't see the value in those deep social connections of people who are generally more empathetic. And Dylan is a much more emotional person who feels a lot of empathy for others, and I think is very cognizant about how other people feel around him. And he's very conscious of how he wants other people to feel around him, which being for good or for bad, because we've seen it both ways with Dylan since the show has started. But I think Bisma lacks that connection, and that's what this scene is meant to say.
It's all about knowing your cast, and that's what the problem is. You have to know this person, I need to speak with them this way. Every person's going to be different. You have to figure out what tailors to them, and that's what makes you a really good game player. If you can figure that component out, you're going to do quite well. Whereas some people struggle with that because they see it one certain way in their mind, and they're thinking everybody else could potentially see it that way too, and that's just not the case.
It's 100% not the case. But yeah, continuing on with that conversation, we get, do you think she targeted Marcel? 100%. I mean, Nina then goes on to kind of muddy the waters a little bit. I want to talk to Jack because it might have been him too. So we start to see Nina understanding the threat level of Jack, which she has demonstrated, I think, before that she understands that. But we're starting to see that rising action in this regard, because now that Xavier is gone, the two power players that are really left in the house are Nina and Jack, and there's definitely going to be some sort of power struggle here, and we're starting to see that now. And Dylan chimes in with, "I love Jack," and like he loves it, but it's just not computing, I don't think. I don't think that Dylan sees the level of game that Jack is playing yet. Jack's playing a fool, and some people are seeing it, and some people are seeing that he's way more than meets the eye.
Dylan loves his Jack. Jack.
He does.
Yeah, see, the thing is, Nina's gonna run into, and she recognizes this, Jack needs to stay around just a little bit longer because then Nina is next in line. And the problem is too, people aren't recognizing Victoria quite yet. Victoria should be lumped in with them, but she's not.
No, she's not. She's not. And we're getting a proxy war right now between the Victoria and Christopher thing. And that's what most of this episode, I think, was about, was the proxy war of the women trying to keep Victoria and basically Jack just trying to keep Christopher. Jack seems like he's losing control in the house further and further and further. And this is the way that he is reacting to that. He is starting to play more aggressive, which unfortunately, I think for his sake, that's not the move that's going to get him further in the game.
I think where Jack is running into an issue is that Jack's gotten a lot of what he has wanted, which is great, but some moves, maybe you just take a step back and let one thing happen that favors in the direction of technically your ally. If your ally's pushing for something as well and you haven't given up enough to them, sometimes you might have to just give them one here, but then reconvene, come back together and figure out a plan that's beneficial to you maybe the next round. Because if you are doing everything that benefits you, then eventually they are going to be like, it's not benefiting me at all to have this relationship with you in the game because I'm not getting anything out of it.
Yeah, no, people don't like being told what to do. Especially in a game like this where there's going to be it's a zero-sum game. It's a game where there's only going to be one winner. There's no splitting of the pot at the end or anything like that. It's a zero-sum game. So there will be only one person that's going to take home that, well, if they keep sucking in the challenges like they do, maybe like $10,000. But they did good this week, though. They did. I think production threw them a bone. They made it like the easiest challenge that they probably possibly could have. They just made it a simple 9-section slide puzzle, but we're not there yet.
We're not there. We'll get.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Comment about that though.
So the next conversation that we get is between Andy and Jack, and Andy is like, "You, me, and Nina, we're on the same page. We talk for minutes. For 2 minutes. We're good." So Andy and Jack are like really bought in on Nina being part of their threesome, and I think for a period of time, I think that Nina was with them. But I think that Nina now is starting to drift away from this threesome without their knowledge.
Yeah, she's being sly. That's what she's doing. She's reading the situation and saying, all right, I am good with them, but is that going to get me the furthest in the game if I do go with that group? And I think she's realizing probably not.
Yeah.
It's not going to get her as far as she possibly can get in the game. But what she's also doing is not making it obvious that she's potentially thinking about jumping ship.
Yeah, and honestly, for her play, it might be the way to go. But I mean, like time will tell how that's gonna react because right now there's still girl power in the house. We didn't get a whole lot of it this episode, but I still feel like it's there. Um, so Jack says maybe we should target Victoria and we could bring Chris in closer because he likes me. The problem with that is that Jack really starts pushing for this, and that really only benefits Jack's game. That doesn't. I mean, I'm sure it benefits Andy's game to an extent too, but like vicariously. But Christopher really, at least Jack has the assessment that Christopher is only really attached to him, not anyone else in the alliance. So it's for him to start pushing that on his alliance members. It just looks selfish.
It does, and it wasn't a subtle push. It was kind of a big push, and that was where the problem lied. Is I don't think. Well, we don't see everything though, so I don't know how much input other people said in terms of what they wanted to necessarily do when confronting Jack. Other people in small conversations they were talking about, but when it was in regards to Jack one-on-one, we didn't see necessarily what their full thought process was, and then how Jack responded to that.
Yeah, and like I think Jack is just gonna kind of bite off a little bit more than he could chew at this point. I think that's just where we're at. And adding to the things on top of that is we get a confessional from Andy at the end of this where he says, Jack and I are close, but strategically, I think I need to start getting more selfish. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Andy.
Love it.
I love it. Andy has recognized that the game is bigger than just the relationships if he wants to win. I'm super stoked to see Andy. I mean, if he turns on Jack, like that is so poetic to see Jack constantly throwing Andy under the bus in the beginning of the game, and then Andy flips the tables on him and targets Jack. I would just love to see that play out.
It would complete the whole picture. Mm-hmm. Truly incredible. I would be here for it as well, just because Andy, of all people, overcomes being thrown on the bus like no other, still has absolutely no idea that it is Jack, and then is the one to bring out the dagger. I think it would be perfect.
What I love watching about it is that, like, if you remember in the first like couple episodes, every time there was a confessional with Andy, we got like just like confused face. I don't know what's going on. A little forlorn, feeling defeated in the beginning of the game. And now we're starting to get content from Andy where he looks like he is fierce. Like his face, like his entire demeanor has shifted now that he feels like he's doing well in the game. And he is. He's transformed his game, similar to Lily in this facet, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to see the growth arc from Andy, Nina, and some of these other players. So anyway, next morning, we get Nina, Marcel, and Christopher. And this is where we get what we were discussing earlier, which is either Bisma took the shot or someone else is taking the fall for. Or Bisma is taking the fall for somebody else. Marcel says that, and it's correct. So Marcel is sometimes getting the reads right, sometimes he gets the reads wrong. But like honestly, in this facet, in this instance, those are the only two options.
Right.
Like it's almost like a Captain Obvious moment.
Does Bisma know how much everyone is talking about her?
I don't know.
I'm just wondering, I'm going, oh my goodness, you're the talk of the town. Nobody is mentioning really anything but you right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's nuts to see how she's playing. Yeah, but I'm here for it. That's what I think matters. Is that we're here for it. Yeah, no. So obviously, Marcel, that's what's going on. Nina's playing a tight game as her turn as the Anonymous. I think she's doing very well at keeping her reactions under wraps. I think. No one is on her scent. She actually is quoted as saying, "The second someone senses a bit of phoniness, you're done." And I think that she's doing well at that. She's not showing any phoniness. She's seeming genuine to everybody, and everybody still trusts her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yeah, no. Kudos to Nina.
Except for later on when we get
We got to give the flowers when they're due, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have a moment of silence for Nina. I'll give you a brief few seconds to hold in what we just said, all the good things. And it's not like we're going to say anything really bad later in the episode. I just thought the moment was hilarious.
Well, we can definitely turn it up a couple notches and just really drag her over the coal.
We don't need to do that. But Nina, bless.
You're blessed. You're so blessed.
For the first half of the episode.
It's Jonny Fairplay, reality TV icon, Survivor Hall of Famer. And I'm talking today about Work Money. Work Money is a non-profit organization that focuses on lowering costs and raising incomes for all Americans to make American life more affordable and American families more economically secure. They provide products, services, perks, benefits, tips, and tools to help members improve their financial lives. It's time to level up and make more money in this economy. We're talking getting rich. Now, this sweepstakes is giving away $50,000. You can use this to pay your rent, your mortgage. Imagine what you can do with all the money that you'll save. Now, this is put on by Work Money, and this site has all these sick benefits, and it's free. Go sign up right now and get more rich. Now, listen, you can change your life. Now, what would you do if you didn't have to pay your rent or mortgage for a year? Listen, sign up right now for free. A link is available right here in the show notes. Check them out. Personally, I'd get more pinball machines. I'm Jonny Fairplay. I wouldn't lie about that. It's Work Money. More money.
Before we get to that second half of the episode, though, the next conversation that we get is between Jack and Lily. And Jack is just, he's campaigning to send Victoria home. And this is where we really start seeing Jack's game. Like, what is his relationship with Lily that he has the audacity to come and start trying to, I lack to say the word strong arm, but like to push super hard on sending Victoria home with someone who was not your direct ally.
Not even like a secondary ally. That's my other thing. It's not as though
she's like on the opposing side of the house.
Right. They haven't even had, and again, we're not seeing all the conversations in the relationship building, but they, in terms of gameplay, I have not seen them have that close-knit community with each other where they're comfortable sharing that type of information. I was floored that we saw this segment.
Yeah, no, it's like Jack, you do realize that it's way better for Lily's game to keep Victoria in the house than it is for her to keep Christopher. She has been at odds with Christopher for episodes at this point. Like, that's been like a big part of her story arc, is that she has a problem with Christopher. Like, if anybody in this house is gonna send Victoria home over Christopher, it's Lily and it's Bisma. You can go talk to just about anybody else in the household. Why are you not like? Well, I'm sure we're not seeing it, but like you should be talking to Marcel. You know, like these are the like those fence players. You know, not your primary. Like, they are on the opposite side of the coin. What are you doing?
We've talked about Lily as a fence player previously, but no longer a fence player. Lily has a group, has a side. Marcel is the only real floater, I would say, right now that doesn't necessarily have a specific team that he's working with.
Yeah, like the only thing that we see with Marcel is that Lily seems to like him very much. So right now, I think the only lines that we're seeing drawn in the sand right now are like the Girl Power Alliance, which has like outliers of Dylan, and Lily has a relationship with Marcel.
Correct. And then Nina has the relationship with Jack.
Yes.
Bisma does not have an extra component to the alliance. The alliance is the alliance for Bisma.
But it really seems like that the power structure right now is Lily, Victoria, and to an extent Nina. They're the ones who seem like to be the most connected with everybody in the house.
I agree. And the thing is, too, it's crazy how it flipped to be that, because it was never like that at the beginning, and then it slowly, the power shifted. And we talked about that. Sometimes if you start too strong, it's going to catch up to you. Could you imagine if Jack played so well at the beginning, and not to say that he's playing horrible by any means now, that's not the case. If you would have waited, maybe starting on episode 3, episode 4, then I think Jack has an excellent shot of winning the entire thing if it happened that way, but it just wasn't the case. It just hit the ground running and then couldn't stop with like the gas pedal. I think that's what Jack runs into. Jack wants to play, and Jack was there to play, and I appreciate that. I commend that in a game player.
Absolutely. I think, and I'm not disappointed with his game in any way, shape, or form. Jack, if you're listening to this, I think you did great. But I think that you even say it later in the episode. He's just like, this is like the only play that I have in order to, like, I get it. Like, sometimes it feels that way, but there's got to be a degree of flexibility that you can work with to try to pull some of these outliers in, like Marcel. You know, there's got to be some way that you can work around that. And if you can't, you can't, but at least you've tried. But you can't lock yourself out of your other options, in my opinion.
No, you can't. You always have to keep your head on a swivel. You always have to keep your eyes going every different direction, whatever you got to do, and just figure out who's where, how do I flip them, how do I talk to them, how do I smooth talk them. And if they're not okay with it, or you can tell that they're not accepting of necessarily what you want to do, maybe that's when you just take it off the gas pedal a little bit and figure out a different plan, but revert back to that plan a different time.
Yeah. No, I just think Jack, he plays great from the top. I think that he doesn't play well from the bottom. I think that's kind of where we're at right now with him.
I want to see Jack play another reality show, though. I really do.
Oh, no, absolutely.
I think Jack watching... There's certain people where they go on a show and they watch themselves back and they're amazing when they return. I think Jack is one of those people, because you learn from what you see on the screen and how people are reacting to your interactions. And we've seen it all the time in Survivor. People don't do as great, but when they see themselves and they come back, you see the whole story arc change for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. Being able to see what the repercussions of your actions are, of things that you didn't get to see on the island, gives you much more insight to subtle like micro expressions and stuff like that, to know, like, it puts you in instances where you're like, I've seen people interact with me this way before, this could quite possibly be how they're reacting to me now, you know. And there are instances where we get people like Philip Shepard, you know where he finally starts to understand how he's coming off, and so he tries to either lean into the curve to have people either underestimate him or whatever, or sometimes you steer completely in the opposite end of the curve, and we see that with other game players. But yeah, no, I think Jack has an excellent opportunity, if he ever is cast on another show, to do exceedingly well. But I don't think that the Anonymous is it for you, buddy. Unfortunately, not this time. Maybe if in like season 10 they do an All Stars and you're in, you know. So yeah, no, and to the point, we get a Lily confessional saying, like Jack wants to get rid of Victoria because that's what's best for his game. Victoria's not a threat to me. I agree, Lily. I agree. That is the right decision. You're doing great.
I'm loving Lily's storyline this season. It's so good.
I still think that she's got a very, very good chance to win right now. She's found herself in the middle of the power structure right now, and there are two warring factions on the outliers of that. I think there's going to be a lot of dust, and when that dust settles, I think we're going to end up with Lily emerging from the ashes. So Jax is totally fixated on targeting Victoria here. We get a confessional from Victoria saying that Bisma is a major threat, which is interesting that we're getting that. Like, why do you think that she's viewing Bisma as a huge threat right now? Because Bisma right now is still girl power.
You know what I'm wondering? Because I feel as though they do this on some shows. I'm wondering if they just put that in there and that was said for 2 episodes ago and not meant for this episode. At least that's what I'm hoping, because I don't know where that's coming from. I really don't, unless in Victoria's eyes she's thinking, if people keep going week after week letting Bisma slide and just Bisma gets too close to the end, maybe that's troublesome. Because I don't see how people think that Bisma's running the show. There's just no way.
Yeah, no, like right now, Bisma's game I think is in the dumpster. Like everybody knows who her handle is. She's not going to have any power to send anybody home. I mean, obviously we know that everyone knows her handle. They might not realize that because there's obviously doubt, as to whether or not you're correct or not. But everyone is agreeing in the household. Yeah, no, I don't think Bisma has a whole lot of game in her right now. And the way that she's playing adversity with Marcel and everything, it's not making her any friends.
No, not at all. It's just not. But the thing is, every episode is different. We've seen people have really good episodes, really bad episodes, mediocre ones. So you never know. There's still that. It's getting to crunch time, though. I think if we don't see the elevation within the next episode or so, I just don't think there's a shot there. But we don't know that true end game, like we've said before. So I'm not entirely sure how it's going to shake up.
Yeah, the way I see it is that like the lines have kind of been drawn in the sand by gender at this point, which happened a couple episodes ago, and I think it's going to be super hard to break that. I don't think that it's going to get broken for at least another 2 votes. I think that once they hit 7, I think we're going to see a crack.
7's normally the typical spot. 8, 7, where people want to make a big move anyway, so it's perfect.
Yeah, and I think that's where the swoop is going to come, and I think that's going to hit probably like Nina or something like that.
I hope not.
I hope not, but I think out of the women in the game, I think that she's the most threatening.
No, of course, but right now she's doing her thing. I am worried, as you said, because we saw it coming with Jack, and we were figuring once Jack goes, because it's coming at some point, it's got to.
Yeah. I think it's either this episode or next episode.
Yeah, then Nina's following.
She's exposed.
If not next, shortly after.
Yeah. Once Jack's gone, Nina's exposed, and that leaves the most advantageous players left in the house are going to be the ones that are in the middle of the power structure, not necessarily the people who are able to power play. And I think we're in agreement on that we're looking at, Victoria and Lily. So we get down to the challenge, which I didn't catch the name of the challenge. I call it Giant Sliding Puzzle.
I think Giant Sliding Puzzle is fantastic. It fits it.
Yeah, well, because it was.
It was, but you should say strap in.
It was a strap. Puzzle. It was a strap on.
Yeah,
it's definitely a strap on sliding puzzle.
Pretty much. I mean, if you know,
we can make one branded for the reality after show.
They had to get in position,
They had to get into position. Absolutely. There was so let's just tell everybody what this whole thing was. So it's a giant sliding puzzle. Everybody knows what a sliding puzzle is, I would assume, but it's got 9 it's got spaces in a grid of 9, and there are 8 tiles that can be slid in a horizontal pattern, either vertically or horizontally on a plane. The object of the puzzle is to get the picture from the puzzle to display correctly on the top of the tiles. If you don't know what a puzzle or a slide puzzle is, I hope that was a good enough explanation.
Or you can look one up on the internet.
You can just look up slide puzzle. Google it. But yeah, no. So there's a giant sliding puzzle, which is the twist, and they have one person who is going to be the leader, and that is going to be the only person who is going to be able to solve this puzzle. Everyone else needs to strap in to a puzzle piece, because there's a little hole in every puzzle piece that they need to stand in, and then they are strapped with the puzzle piece attached to their shoulders around their waist. Cute challenge.
Straps. I mean, it's perfect.
Like, we've seen challenges like this on other reality shows. Like, the one that comes to mind, I think it was in Palau, where they did the floating slide puzzle.
That's brutal, because it's in the water, and you have to have people move it. You have a collar. Oh, this is child's play, right?
100%. It's like the easiest thing. Yeah, it's like the easiest thing. And the image that they had them make wasn't even a complicated image. It was a fucking circle. They just had to make a circle. So it's not like there was any question as to which piece would go where, or that it was difficult to match them up on the sides or anything. No, it was a fucking circle.
Do you think production was like, oh shit, there's not that much money?
There's no money in here. We need to make this easy. It's like we did, like they only got $150 last week. We gotta.
I'm telling you, they're probably on the drawing board going like, oh shit, what can we give them so they can win? Because is anyone going to walk away with any money this season?
Exactly. It's like we're going to be the lowest prize giving show. It's going to be like Press Your Luck from like 1978. You know, like they're gonna get $400 to bring home to their family.
Literally.
But yeah, no, I think production definitely threw them a bone here to give them some sort of easy challenge to try to give them a win. But yeah, but the twist of the challenge is that they had to elect a leader. Marcel really wants to be the leader because Marcel is terrified of being sent home. I get it. Like, you didn't have to just let Nina become the elected leader. You could have opposed her, but he didn't.
Well, so here's my thing with that. Yes, you're guaranteed safety, and I understand. But imagine if you fail. If you fail, and I'll put it this way: if I'm in this game, and that person fails and costs me another $8,000 to the pot, every single person, bing, 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 vote. My vote's already decided. It's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, like, I think a baby could have done this puzzle. I'm pretty sure that this was the puzzle that they designed for like second graders. You know, I don't think he could have failed it.
I'm just saying.
I get it. 100%. Totally understand. But yeah, no, if he felt that vulnerable, he should have put an objection up to Nina. Like, I understand you don't want to make the social play of doing that. I get that. But if you feel like you are on the chopping block and you are going to go home, which is the way it was portrayed to us that Marcel feels, like, you can oppose her and maybe even make it to a rock, paper, scissors. Mm-hmm. Or you know, something to at least give you a slight chance of getting put into that position. But he chose not to. And the thing is with this game, too, is that you could have, because there is an anonymous mode, you can throw Nina under the bus in the chat later and voice those concerns later on. Something along the lines of like everybody seems to trust Nina. Like, just something as simple as that can have people start, you know, because if everybody trusts Nina, that means that some of you shouldn't be trusting Nina.
Correct, because that means
someone's getting lied to. Yeah. Yes. But like you can paint a target on Nina now that she's been elected as the leader of the group, I think. And you can do that in anonymous mode without fear of repercussion. Well, maybe Marcel can't because everybody knows that he's Snake. But well, some people know that he's Snake. But still, like, that's gameplay that Marcel could have taken advantage of that he did not. You know, like Marcel is being a little gun shy, I think, when it comes to that. So Nina is elected leader, upsetting Marcel. Yeah, no, it's not a complicated slide puzzle, and I don't think we need to talk about it.
Boom, slide puzzle done. They strapped in, they did the puzzle, they got $8,000 in the bank. People are happy.
They really tried to milk the drama.
Oh, I know, they did.
They were really trying. That puzzle must have been done in like 3 minutes, and they like had to turn it into like a 3-minute segment with people yelling at each other and like, oh, we're not going to be able to do it. And it's like, oh my God, it was getting done right from the get-go. Nina, so at the end of the thing, Nina is now safe because they complete the puzzle with more than enough time to spare. And Nina has the quote of the episode, which I really think should have been the title of the episode. Suck it, robot.
So good. And it's true, though, because from this point, Robot has just been voting for Nina every single time. And so now we're going to have to see a different gameplay, which I was excited about because I wanted to see what is Lily going to do? What is her strategy?
Yeah, no. Lily hasn't really let her cards down all that much at all. And everybody at lunch later on kind of feels the same way. I was like, well, what is Robot going to do now that Nina is not on the table? And they're talking about it in Lily's presence. And then, like, Robot has to go somewhere else. And Lily's like, yeah, no, that's what they got to do. And we get a confessional from Lily. I have a good relationship with Nina. If she's anonymous, she'll save me. I think that that's true. I think that that's a correct assumption. Because Nina is very well connected, and Lily is the power structure right now.
Of course, yeah, it's spot on.
Yeah, no. Jack is once again trying to bring up the Victoria and Christopher thing, lobbying for Victoria to be voted out. He's trying to be smooth about it, but it's not going to work. Like, he's like trying to be like, I know y'all want to vote for Christopher, but how about a Victoria? Like it's just falling flat, and it's on deaf ears.
I think in this situation, if you try again and you can tell people are probably not on board, pitch a name that you know everyone's probably going to be okay with, and they'll go with it, because then you're kind of agreeing with them, because you could say Bismuth sounds fine, and I'm sure if you went to Marcel and said that, Marcel would have been like, all right, bet, great, sounds good.
Yeah. He's pitching the wrong people on it, and all this like wave making that Jack is doing because he's trying to strong arm the game right now to go his way. It's making people realize that Jack is much more of a threat than he needed to let on. We get a confessional from Nina at that point saying Jack is a big threat. Like, people are recognizing that Jack is the one who's most likely been pulling a lot of strings early on in the game, I think. And they're starting to recognize that Jack has a lot of game. And I think that that's just gonna it's all coming to a point, pinnacle, apex, I don't know, climax.
Climax sounds
Ew.
good. That'll work. Yeah.
So we're getting to Jack's climax. And it's unfortunate because his climax is coming a little premature. I think it's a little early for him. But yeah, no, Jack's gonna get targeted by Nina most likely. I think Jack's whole game is falling apart. But yeah, moving right along. That's what happened at lunch, and then we have anonymous mode again.
My favorite, love the anonymous mode. It never gets old. It doesn't. It's so good. People always are spicy.
Anonymous mode.
Can
we say it that way from now on?
I think that is how you bring it in every single time. When they are going into the anonymous mode, cue Adrian. Love it.
Excellent. No, yeah. USA Network needs to clip that and use it during every episode. Anyway, so we get into anonymous mode. Flamingo Jack starts off the chat, and lo and behold, this is terrible, in my opinion.
It was bad. It was.
Yeah, it's like, I think Victoria is using Christopher. Does she have a boyfriend back home? Like, A, why are you telegraphing who your handle is in anonymous mode? You're not going to win anonymous now. Like everybody knows you've gone to almost everybody in the entire house and like have been targeting Victoria, and now you're the first person in anonymous mode to start targeting Victoria. Like, I just think it's just too much.
I wish Lily or somebody would have done that. It would have been brilliant and so
right?
good. I would have screamed. It would have floored me, but I think that would have been the best strategy for someone to do.
And Jack jumped the gun and he just did it himself because he needs to be in control. Jack needs to be in control of the game, and he's not. And then he takes it even a step further with the she has a boyfriend back home. So now he's trying to jeopardize her character to Christopher because he's trying to drive a wedge between Christopher and Victoria.
And make Christopher second guess.
Yes.
Because it's happened before. Is it happening to me again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. And I think it's a really poor play on Jack's part. It almost, to me, seems like Jack is desperate. He needs to have the control back, and he's not going to get it. Nina and Bisma immediately think that Flamingo is Jack from that. as they should have.
Yeah, perfect read. I mean, who else would you think? Unless, as we talked about here, if someone was trying to do the setup, which is a brilliant move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's thinking a little far ahead, I think. And I think Jack is losing what got him so far in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we got Snake Marcel coming in with his Christopher steak. Because obviously, if you're a snake, you have to talk like a snake. That's how that works.
Marcel picked the wrong handle, in my opinion. I just don't think that should have been the one. It should. When I see a snake, I'm thinking that person is a snake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally. I just kind of wish that we got almost everyone to talk like their avatars. Like we could have gotten someone like Lily could have started talking like a robot, and like I don't know what a cactus sounds like, but Victoria could have nailed it, I bet.
And then you have Popsicle Dylan.
Yeah, it was Popsicle Dylan and Flamingo Jack. Which how do flamingos sound? Like are flamingos like super cool? Are they like, "Hi, I'm a flamingo"?
I don't speak flamingo, so I'm not entirely sure. And also, I don't think the last time I went to a zoo was a very long time ago. But I don't just walk outside and see the flamingos. I see turkeys.
Okay. Yes.
But flamingos, that's not on my neck of the woods.
Do they honk?
What, turkeys?
No. Flamingos. Do they go like, oh? I don't know what a flamingo sounds like.
It's a bird.
It is a bird.
Pretty birds. I know
they
that.
are. They're pink because they eat a lot of shrimp or something.
Yeah.
This is the content.
We're not bird experts, at least.
No, we're definitely not. We need like Omer from 42 on here. He could tell us. He could probably make the sound.
I have me second guessing what sound they make. I need to look. I'm going to look.
You have to look up what a flamingo sounds like. Obviously.
I need to insert the audio of the flamingo in this.
Absolutely. It's just gonna sound nothing like it. It's gonna be like. It's just something completely different. It's not going to make any sense whatsoever. So while you look that up, I'm going to go over what else happened in chat. So we have Cactus Victoria. One of the girls needs to be eliminated. Totally right. Yeah, no, Victoria is understanding the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all the guys are not understanding the game right now. I don't know if that's something in the water or something because they have a wiener. Like, I don't know, but they're all like really sucking in anonymous mode right now.
Give Andy some credit. Andy has gotten better.
Andy's gotten a lot better. I hats off to Mr. Andy. Anyway, so Victoria's doing really hard to get people off her scent, doing great, and then Popsicle Dylan chimes in with. And this was bracketed. Is that a bracket? I think that's a bracket. Blank. You will be up for elimination tonight. Trying to elicit a response from somebody else in chat. It's an interesting strategy. I like. He's queuing for someone to target somebody. And when you're doing that, like, I don't know. I thought it was a cool move.
It's new.
Yeah.
So I appreciate
it's
new.
different.
I just think Dylan, for me, I don't really care what Dylan does because it's going to be good regardless. And I'm going to say it's good regardless, even though it might not be the best strategy, the best gameplay, whatever you want to call it. But because it's Dylan, it's perfect.
Dylan. That's what's great about it. So Robot Lily chimes in. Popsicle, insert Jack. So Jack's name gets thrown out. We knew that was going to happen. Nina thinking Popsicle might be Andy or maybe Jack. Nina is not really trusting Jack at all, even more so. And Jack is starting to get high strung. Like he's really, like, he doesn't like the game not in his hands. And Lightning Andy chimes in, would be great to see Jack at risk 2 nights in a row, which is wonderful that Andy is starting to turn the tables on Jack. it's hilarious that Jack is getting a taste of his own medicine. I think that's great storytelling on their part. Let's see. My vote. So then Fire Nina chimes in. My vote will be on Lily again. No need to hide. Just very frank, very aggressive, totally telegraphing what she's doing, but she's still doing very well in the anonymous mode, I think. So, Lipstick Christopher, Fire knows what's up. Lily or Bisma. Like, Christopher,
Make it any
do
more
you know what
obvious.
game that you're playing? he
That's
he
perfect.
talks in anonymous mode like he talks in real life.
I just don't think Christopher was fully explaining the game that Christopher was signing up for. I think Christopher belongs on Big Brother, and I will stamp that because
I'm totally cool with that. Totally cool with that. Put him on that. Put him on Love Island. Put him on.
whatever.
Nothing
good.
that has to be like super deep. But yeah, no. So Lily is confident that Christopher Lipstick, obviously. So like in my assessment, based on everything that we're saying, I think right now we got half of the people in this house are doing well in the anonymous room and the other half are not doing well at all. I think right now we have strong games from Nina, Lily, Victoria, Dylan, and Andy. I don't think a lot of people are on their scent at all. I think the people who are doing abysmal right now are Christopher, Jack, Marcel, and Bisma. And I think that the gap between those two levels is massive. It's like a Grand Canyon between who's doing well and who's doing poorly. I do want to see a handle shake up again.
I need one at this point. After this, it's hard. I think it's important that they have it in the game just because eventually you are really going to figure out almost everyone and who they are just because of the conversations and how often you're talking and who's saying what, because their personality eventually does come out under the anonymous.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if they could gamify the way that there's like priority on who gets more advantage when choosing the new handles. I don't know how you would do that, but I would like to see them have a challenge that allows them to have I don't even know how to do it. Like a better advantage at picking new handles. I don't know how you do that.
Hear me out.
Okay.
An anonymous challenge that they compete in, and then from there, no one knows the results, and then you find out you're picking. But
Okay.
what you do is, if someone already picked something, that isn't even an option that's already on the board. So what you're seeing for the first time is what you think is the only option on the board.
Interesting. I like that. Yeah, no, so you're gamifying it and you're giving that's wild. I like that. So you can use your deduction on who you think is doing really well in anonymous mode, that the handles that are removed when you get your opportunity to choose, you can make an inference that player who took that handle may be very good at anonymous mode.
Yeah.
Because they got to choose before you.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I want to see something different. And I think if this show continues to progress, I believe they can pull that off because this is a show you can play with things. It's not always going to be clear cut and dry. You can mix stuff up. You can try different things. If it doesn't stick, the boxes. You can eliminate it.
The boxes was good for like the first time, maybe the second time, but I don't want to see it another time. I don't. And I have a feeling we're going to see it next week. I just think we are. I think they're just trying to make that a thing. And I don't want it to be. Even if with different art direction, you can even have the same game, but with something a little bit different, you know, just so we're not bombarded with the same imagery over and over and over again. Anyway, so we get to the vote. Flamingo Jack puts up Victoria. Robot Lily puts up Bisma. So solid play, I think. Flamingo Jack, not a good idea. You're just totally telegraphed. Popsicle Dylan puts up Jack. His little dear Jack. Jack. Eagle Bisma puts up Christopher. Not a good play on. I mean, I guess she didn't pick Marcel, so.
That's true.
Lipstick Christopher puts up Lily. Not like not masking his identity at all, just telegraphing his moves completely. And then we get a lovely little thing from Lightning Andy. And I love this move from Andy right now. So Andy chooses to put himself on the block. So he does an Andy's Gambit.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really, really want to see this play out the right way. It's entirely possible that Andy is going to become the Anonymous this week because of that. And I really hope it happens.
I think Andy does it at the correct time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to buy your time in this game, and I think Andy was reading the situation going, you know what? I am expected to probably get a vote here, so why not just put it down?
Yeah. No. I think Andy made a phenomenal move here. Because nobody is looking at Lightning right now. Nobody suspects Lightning right now. Andy is not a target on the board right now. I think it's a solid move from him. Snake Marcel votes for Bisma. Big surprise. Another, like they're just not playing well. Fire Nina picks Lily. And Cactus Victoria takes Marcel. Solid picks from solid votes from most of the players, with some outliers with Bisma, Jack, Marcel, obviously, and Christopher. Like the people that we've said are not playing extremely well in the Anonymous mode right now. Marcel throws his notebook when he gets the last vote, though. Which I thought was great. He was so excited. He was like, I'm not going to be on the block. And then as soon as he sees that Cactus Victoria votes Marcel, he's like, motherfucker.
Marcel did not get a wall twerk like Lily.
I know, he did not.
We did not get that moment, no.
But if Victoria did not vote for Marcel, could we have gotten a Marcel twerk?
I don't know.
We'd have to ask him.
We would have to ask him that. You think Lily's the only one that has done the twerking at this point? But I wouldn't put it past any of these people to want to put out the twerk on the wall. Absolutely.
I think it should be canonical that if you get like 3 votes in a row and then you don't get a vote, you have to do a twerk. I think that's just going to be in the lexicon of the Anonymous from now on. I just want to see players like Andy have to do the twerk.
I was saying, get Andy right on board for that.
Like, that would be so hilarious. Anyway, so just in summation, we have Lily with 2 votes, Bisma with 2 votes, Christopher, Jack, Andy, Marcel, and Victoria all with 1 vote. So the only 2 people that are going to be safe this round are Nina, due to her being elected leader and winning the challenge, and Dylan. Dylan's clean.
Yes, Dylan. Yes.
Yeah, no. Solid week for kudos to Dylan. So we get to the aftermath. Jack, Dylan, Andy, and Victoria are talking. And Andy comes in with, I don't think Lightning likes the gays.
Oh, man. That's just...
I can't speak to that.
I mean, I can because I am.
Yes, I will defer to you. On behalf of the community.
On behalf of the community. Andy just put it out there. But in a joking manner, which... Yeah. Of course, you have to joke about it. It's, the way Andy said it was funny.
It was. It made me laugh pretty hard. And Dylan chimes in with, Lightning said they were going to vote for Jack. And the camera cuts to Andy, and an ominous tone came from like the music that queued up. I don't know what that's telling us, though. Does that mean that Dylan is suspecting Andy as Lightning?
I don't know. I think I need it more from that. That's the problem. There was
this weird ominous tone.
Yeah, they're trying to give you a little bit of something, but we don't necessarily know exactly what.
I don't know what that means. USA, help! Teach me. Okay. Who would vote for Marcel? Andy. Dylan. Marcel. Jack was like, Marcel would vote for Marcel. And Andy just goes, he did. And he thinks that Cactus is Marcel. Like, it's so interesting to see how many people have such a good grasp in this game, but they just, like, they miss, like, the small little things. that seemingly are just like apparently, evidently obvious to the rest of us.
But is Victoria obvious that she's Cactus? I think she's doing great with not making it obvious.
I don't think that it's that part that's obvious. I think it's obvious that Marcel is Snake.
Oh, that's 100% obvious. But I was talking about like with the cactus element of it.
Well, yeah, no. Completely agree with you there. But Andy thinks that Marcel is Cactus, though. He should.
Yeah, which makes no sense. You should.
Makes no
have
sense.
agreed, especially because Bisma did call out Marcel being Snake in front of everybody in the anonymous mode.
Yes. I want to see more people do that. If there's like a season 2 on this, I want to see people like call people out by name and be like, so and so is so and so. I want to see how people get rattled with that. I think that would be really fun. Somebody who's just like super aggressive and just off the wall in the anonymous room. Yeah, I think that would be cool. Anyway, Dylan thinks that Bisma is Flamingo. Explain that one to me.
I can't.
I'm pretty sure they just like, it's like Mad Libs. They just like say whatever name and whatever emoji comes to mind at the time. Like, but yeah, no, Dylan, you're wrong.
Going back to this, do you just think to lead to the drama that they have this film, these segments from previous episodes where they should have gone, and then they just stick them here because it just makes the episode, I don't know, more interesting to see people's heads spinning in all different directions? Or do you truly believe they are saying it at these exact moments when this is occurring?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not savvy enough to look at their wardrobe. I just don't pay attention. I only pay attention to Dylan's clothes because they're fabulous.
Oh,
But
yeah.
every outfit that he wears is just, it's a peach. So, yeah, no, Dylan thinks that Bismo is Flamingo. Cool. Why don't we just say everybody's Flamingo at this point? Excuse me. So we get Bisma, Lily, and Christopher talking. And Bisma correctly says, like, I thought you were Lipstick. And Christopher chimes back, I thought Eagle was you, which is hilarious. Because they're completely right to each other. But neither one of them react, so they're both playing well in that respect. Correct. And then Christopher, you did something right. And then you immediately back it up with, I think Flamingo is you to Lily. Christopher, you're so close to being competent. It's wonderful. Yeah, no. So Lily comes in with someone is trying to paint. Have you ever heard this term before? Someone is trying to paint Victoria and I against each other.
I don't think it's paint. Might be very, very incorrect word usage.
I think it might be
incorrect. I think the correct terminology, and if I'm wrong, let me know. Pit.
Yeah. I think that it's Pit, but I mean, this is why Lily is adorable, and this is why we love her.
This is also why we have Google. Another thing I need to search up at the end of this podcast.
Why wait? Grab a Snickers. They're not a sponsor. Not sponsored content. Anyway, and then everything. It's like people are throwing out names for everybody. We're trying, and then we get a Bisma confessional, which actually says it correctly. We get Jack is trying to pit Bisma and Lily against Victoria and Christopher. Or did I just say that? I might have just said that. That might be Y words. But either way, I somebody said it correctly. I don't know who it was. It was either me or them. It was somebody. She's not trying to target Victoria. And I agree with that. She shouldn't be trying to target Victoria. That's not good for her game.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about that whole thing, this whole Victoria malarkey. So Marcel thinks that Bisma is Lipstick. Once again, showing that the men don't know what's going on in this house. But he says that he's trying to throw out blatantly wrong theories. So he's trying to sow confusion now. That's his plan.
This is what I'm talking about. If that is the strategy, love it. Have at it. Create chaos. Create confusion. put it in people's minds to make them second guess. Because if they do that and they are second guessing, it is working in your favor. Theoretically, it could.
Yeah. Well, can it backfire? Like, everybody's just going to think that he's an idiot.
You know, at this point, what do you have to lose?
Like how much lower can you get?
At this point, what do you have to lose? Just see if something fits.
So yeah, no, he's going chaos route. And then this is where we actually get the meat and potatoes of it, where Dylan says that Nina is fire. And he says that right to Nina's face. And Nina, like, I paused it. Nina has a look.
Nina does have a look, and that's where we're saying at the beginning, good job, buddy. Here, like, holy shit.
He rattled her cage.
Do you think it's because it was Dylan that said it? You know what I mean?
It might have been because you're not suspecting him to be that in tune.
Dylan was also very direct with it too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, baby, you fire, basically.
Yeah. like to me, it seemed like almost initially, and this could be my completely wrong read on the situation. It's like he said it as if Nina wasn't sitting right next to him.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah, like it didn't seem like he was computing that he was saying it to her. And then she just like looked at him just like, brr. Like, if you watch that in slow motion, you could just see her eyes like turn like the size of like
just the volcano explosion within the
it's
body.
just like, oh, you see the fire in her eyes.
Just coming all out at once.
Exactly, because it was just so unexpected. And then Nina goes to Dylan, "Are you cactus?" And then Dylan like covers up his mouth and gets up and runs away gingerly, just laughing and giggling. It was such Dylan gem.
I love it though, because then now make Nina think that you could be cactus with that little hee 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 reaction.
Yeah, no. Dylan was, this segment with Dylan was just chef's kiss. It was wonderful. I loved it. And then finally, before the test, we get Christopher and Nina talking. Jack says he's targeting Victoria, and so Nina basically is telling Christopher that Jack says he's targeting Victoria. There's just so many names going on here. Nina tells Christopher that Jack thinks that he can manipulate him, and basically trying to blow up Jack's game to Christopher. And Christopher is like he's agreeing and he understands, and he's like, he's affirming, Jack is playing a sneaky game. Yeah, so like Nina is low key now trying to sabotage Jack's game. So I'm certain we'll see that play out, just like we've been discussing.
Right. I just think at this point Nina sees the writing on the wall that it's got to happen here.
Yeah. And it really depends on who becomes the anonymous this week as to what's going to happen. Because, well, we'll get there. So we do the test. Nobody knows who Popsicle is, so Dylan seems like he's playing very strongly. People suspect that Bisma is Eagle. Christopher is Lipstick. Jack actually thinks that Robot is Lily, which I made a note about. I was like, wow, okay, so cool play on Jack's part. And obviously Dylan thinks that Nina is Fire. So we're seeing that all play out. People take their test, and then we get the results. The anonymous is going to be either Andy or Victoria, which is really cool. Like Victoria's been playing a strong game, but it's great to see Andy turn himself around to be in the finals for the anonymous this week. But in summation, we have Lily, Bisma, Christopher, Jack, Andy, Marcel, and Victoria at risk. And Danny eliminates some people from the block. And we're down to a final 3 this week as opposed to a final 2 as normally. Or a final 1 if it's Marcel. And we get to Jack, Bisma, or Lily is going to go home. All right. So now I have to ask you, if Victoria is the anonymous, who does she eliminate?
Well, it's got to be Jack, because as we've talked about here, that alliance, even though they are targeting each other in the anonymous mode, when it comes to being the actual anonymous person, they're going to it's a no-brainer there. But see, the reason they're setting it up so well, because if Andy gets it, then it's a coin toss with who it's going to be, which I love. So I really am enjoying that it's coming down to those two people.
Yeah. I think that if obviously it's a slam dunk. If it's Victoria, it's going to be Jack. I agree with you there. If it's Andy, I see Andy getting rid of Bisma over Lily.
Just because Bisma's name has been out more recently in comparison to Lily, and Andy seems more of the go the flow type of person with the alliance.
Yeah, we don't know where Andy's alliance truly lies apart from the Jack and Nina connection. We don't know what his relationships are in the house beyond that. So we don't know if he has a positive relationship with Bisma. I think that Jack's enemies are Andy's enemies at this point.
Correct.
And I don't think that Jack is actively targeting Lily, because we did get a conversation between Jack and Lily with Jack poorly trying to influence Lily's vote. So he must think that he has some sort of working relationship with Lily in order to have that conversation wrongly, but I think he does. So to that end, I think that if Andy goes, I think Bisma is the prime target for Andy at that point.
It all makes sense. I am right there with you. Just how it's being set up and portrayed to us as viewers with how it could unfold depending upon which one of the two gets it.
Yeah. Well, that's episode 8 of The Anonymous. Awesome talking with you about it. I appreciate it.
It's always good. Glad that we were able to be back. We are on a new platform and everything, so what we would like you to do, if you have questions about upcoming episodes, just drop it in the comment section of the podcast and we'll bring it up and we'll talk about it, anything that you want to talk about it. Or you can hit up Adrian on Instagram.
Yes, that is at arob.iv, because my parents thought that it would be cool to name me the 4th. So that's why the IV is there, because I am the 4th. Woo! Go me. I'm a carbon copy of a carbon copy of a carbon copy. But yeah, so yeah, hit me up on Instagram at arob.iv. You can ask questions there, or you can just respond directly to the video where this is posted, and we will read those questions out and try to get you as many answers as we possibly can.
Absolutely. We'll get to everything that you send our way. We love talking the Anonymous, so we're excited to see what you have to say about the Anonymous. And with that, there's so much content here at the Reality After Show. I could go on and on and on. Just be on the lookout. We have something that I'm sure you will like and enjoy listening to, because it is a ton of reality television. We have wrestling as well, so we have a little bit of everything. But be on the lookout for Big Brother, The Challenge podcast, Survivor, Hitting.
Don't we have the Kelly Wentworth podcast now?
What?
I said we have the Kelly Wentworth one too now for Survivor.
That's what I'm saying. Survivor, heavy hitting with the podcasting, and I will say, in my own personal opinion, this season so far is holding up for me. I'm really enjoying.
No, it feels like OG Survivor again. Like 41 and 46. Like, I know this isn't a Survivor podcast, but you know, we're here. 41 through 46, I felt like we were cosplaying Survivor. I feel like Jeff and production are not shying away from conflict anymore, and they're willing to show us a little bit more adversity amongst players, and I like that. We saw a little bit of it in 46, like they got their feet wet, but I think that now they're really starting to like, okay, we can have conflict.
Oh, it's looking great. I'm here for it. I hope it continues to progress this way. And if you want to see later on during the season, we will do a draft check-in, myself and Adrian, also with Lyrsa from David versus Goliath, and it'll be really good because then you'll get our thoughts on Survivor, because we are both huge Survivor fans as well. And with that, Adrian, can you think of anything else?
No, I think you hit it all. I mean, well, obviously, Johnny would be very upset if we didn't mention that you need to like, subscribe, and more comments and things of that nature. Otherwise, we will never have this podcast again and we'll cry.
Couldn't have said it better, Adrian. All right, well, with that, I'm Lauren. This is Adrian, as always. Reality After Show. Take care.
Ta-ta.